Hello everyone, in today's lecture we will discuss about the male reproductive system. The human male reproductive system consists of different type of organs. Okay, let's see these organs. These are the testes. Okay, this is the primary reproductive organ in male. Okay, so testis is the primary reproductive organ in male. Got it? In male, that is in man's. Okay, now these organs are the testes as well as the scrotum, epididymis, vas deferens, ductus deferens. The vas deferens is also known as the ductus deferens or the sperm duct. Okay, and beside these organs there are some glands also present, some anal vesicle as well as the prostate gland. Okay, and the last and important part is the penis. Okay, so these are the different organs of the human male reproductive system. Got it? Since the human male is called man, so we can also say that it is the reproductive system of man. Now let us discuss about the each and every part of male reproductive system in detail. So first part is the testis. Okay, this is the testis part. Here I am going to write down the testis and I will explain it. Okay, so what you observe that it is a oval shaped structure. Okay students, it is a oval shaped structure, and this is the side view. This is the side diagram of the male reproductive system. Okay, so when you observe it, when you see it from front side, now you observe that testis is a paired structure. Got it? It is a paired structure. Now what are the role of testis? What are the function of testis? Okay, so what are the main function of testis? Testis function is to the main function of testis is to make the male sex cells, okay, that is the male gamete, okay, which you also call the male gamete. This is the first function of the testis. Okay, and another function of testis is the make the male sex hormone. Okay, male sex hormone. Okay, so what is the male sex hormone names? Can you tell me? Yes, I told you in the last lecture also. Male sex hormone, it is known as the testosterone. Okay, so this can be framed as a question. This is a very important point for your exam. Okay, so please note that the testis of a male man make the sex gametes from the puberty onward throughout his life. Okay, do you know that the testis of a man lies in a small muscular pouch, and this pouch is known as the scrotum. Okay, very important point. Okay, and which is situated outside the abdominal cavity. I mean to say that the testis is located outside the abdominal cavity of the body. Okay, and not deep inside the body. And why this happens? So why the testis is situated outside the abdominal region? Because for the process of sperm formation. Okay, for sperm formation, testes have to maintain at 1 to 3 degree lesser temperature than the body. Okay, got it? Just for the functional sperm, just for the sperm formation. Okay, that's why. Okay, so they get most suitable temperature for this formation of sperms. Okay, now what happened the next process? Now the sperm from testis come out. Okay, so here if the sperms are formed here in the testis, now they comes out and go into a highly coiled structure. Okay, got it? Where they go into a highly coiled structure. Look at the diagram. Okay, this is a highly coiled structure. Okay, this is the scrotum. Okay beta, so this is the scrotum and this is the epididymis. This is a highly coiled structure which you call the epididymis. Okay, so write down their name. This is epididymis. Okay, so what are the function of epididymis? Actually here sperm is stored. Okay, their main function is to that they store sperm is stored temporarily, but just for the temporarily. Okay, temporarily, clear, in epididymis. Okay, now from epididymis the sperms are carried by a long tube. Let me show you here where this long tube is present. Okay, look at the diagram. This is a long tube. Okay, so this is the next step. This long tube is known as the vas deferens. Okay, this is the vas deferens. Okay, I'm going to explain it again. that the sperm get stored in the epididymis, as I told you, temporarily. Now from the epididymis, the sperms are carried by a long tube called vas deferens, or you also call the sperm duct. Okay, now which joins with another tube called the urethra. Look at the diagram that it joined with another tube called the urethra. Yes, here it is. Got it? So their diagram is actually somewhat like that. It is a testis. Okay, and here epididymis is present. Okay, here epididymis is present. Now from this part, the vas deferens arises. Okay, vas deferens. Now this is the vas deferens. Okay, and here what is present? The urinary bladder is present here. Okay, urinary bladder is present, and this is the urethra part of the urinary bladder. Okay, urethra part, and this is the penis part. Okay, clear? So this is the vas deferens. Here I am going to show you. Here the vas deferens, and they unite with the. So what I want to say, that this vas deferens joined with the another tube called the urethra. So they join with the another tube. Okay, here they get joined with the urethra. Look at this. Okay, which is coming from the bladder. Got it? So along the path of vas deferens, the glands are also present here. Okay, so along the path of vas deferens, there are some glands also present here that give their secretion, give their contribution to these sperms. Okay, and these glands are known as the seminal vesicle. These glands are present here. Got it, beta? Here, seminal vesicles. Okay, and the prostate gland. It is somewhat like that. This is seminal vesicle and this is prostate gland. Okay, this is, I am showing you just a rough diagram, and this is the front view actually. This is the seminal vesicles, and here the prostate gland. I'm using a very short terms. Okay, and these are the vas deferens. Okay, so let me show you in the diagram where these are present. Okay, so here it is. Now look at the diagram. Look at the diagram better carefully. Okay, so here is the prostate gland. What is this? Here, this is the prostate gland. Okay, prostate gland. Okay, here this is the urinary bladder. Clear? And here is the urethra. This is the urethra. Look at the diagram that this vas deferens unite with the urethra. Okay, so here this is the urethra part. Clear? And here a very leaf-like structure you observed now. This is the seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicles. Okay, so keep this in your mind that not only sperm is ejaculated. Ejaculated means to say coming out from the penis. Okay, not only sperm is coming out from the penis, but there are some liquid part is also present. Okay, beta. So look at the steps. What are the steps? That first of all, sperm go to which place? Let me explain you here. That here, first of all, sperms are formed by the testis. Then the sperm goes toward the epididymis, where the sperms are temporarily stored, and after that the sperm goes into the vas deferens. Okay, is it okay to everyone? Okay, the sperm goes toward the vas deferens, and after vas deferens it goes to the, where it goes? It goes to the penis. Okay, you can write on, it goes to the urethra. Okay, and via penis it comes out. Clear? But as I told you, along the path of the vas deferens, there are some glands are present. Okay, so what are these glands? Seminal vesicle and prostate gland. Okay, they add their secretion to sperm so that the sperms are now in a liquid form. Okay, so now the liquid part which are secreted by these glands. Okay, this liquid part is secreted by these glands. Now this liquid part mixed with the sperm. Okay, now a thick fluid like structure is formed, a thick liquid like structure is formed, which is known as the semen. So this can be framed as a question, thick liquid. This is a thick liquid. Okay, clear? So the secretion of seminal vesicle and prostate gland, actually they provide, what are the need of this liquid? They provide some nutrition to the sperms. Okay, so let me write on their role. They provide nutrition to the sperms. okay, and also make their further transport easier. Okay, so these are the role of liquid, these are the role of liquids, and these liquids is secreted by the prostate gland. I hope you understand what I want to say. Okay, and actually these sperms need nutrition now. So who will and the next point is that who will increase their motility, how they move from the vas deferens to the epididymis and then comes out. Okay, so this will happen easier with the help of these glands. Okay, then the next part is the urethra. Urethra, one important point I want to tell you about the urethra is that it is a common passage for sperm as well as urine. Okay, this is the urethra part now. Look at the diagram, this is urethra part. Okay, so what you observe that this here is the urinary bladder present and here the testis present. So testis and urinary bladder both are connected to this urethra part. Okay, so that's why through this urethra urine is passing out as well as the sperm is also passes out. Okay, that's why I am saying that urethra is the common passage. Okay, so write down this is common passage. Common passage for sperms and urine also. Okay, urethra carries the sperm to an organ, and this organ is known as penis. Okay, so look at the diagram. This structure is known as the penis. This here the structure is present now. This structure. This structure is penis. Okay, and inside this urethra is present. Look at this, somewhat like that. Clear? Okay, so the urethra opens into the penis, which opens outside the body. Okay, now the penis passes the sperm from the man's body into the vagina. So what are the role of penis? Let me write it down. Let me write it here. Penis role is to passing down. Penis passes the sperm. It passes the sperm from man's body, or you can say the testis from man's body into the vagina, in the woman's body. Woman's body during the time of sexual contact. Okay, or you can say during mating for the purpose of reproduction. Got it? During this time of sexual contact for the purpose of reproduction. Clear? So please note down that in man there is only one opening for the urine, as for urine and sperm to pass out of the body. Okay, clear? This is very important line. You have to note down that in man, I mean to say in human male, there is the only one opening for urine and sperm to pass out of the body. While in female reproductive system, I will tell you that there are different openings for the passing of urine as well as for the taking up of the semen. Okay, whatever I told you now, everything is written here. That the testis is attached to the highly coiled structure which is known as the epididymis. Okay, and the sperms are stored here. They mature in the epididymis. That's why I am saying that now, that sperms are stored here temporarily. Okay, so along the way of the duct, so there are 3 glands present, and these are the prostate gland, seminal vesicle, as well as the Cooper's gland. Okay, this gland is also present. Also open and pour their secretion into the vas deferens. So here the function of vas deferens and glands are given. Okay, so function of vas deferens is to just provide the passage for the sperm to the male body. Okay, this is the only function. And function of gland that provide nutrition. Okay, as well the medium for the locomotion of the sperm. The secretion of the 3 glands along with the sperm is known as the semen, as I told you. Now let us discuss about the human female reproductive system. Okay, now this system consists of different organs, and here are the organs given in this diagram. So they contain a pair of ovaries. Okay, so look at the diagram. Here is the ovary is given. Okay, they have a pair of ovaries. Oviduct. Oviduct is also given here, which is also known as the fallopian tube. Okay, so oviduct, either you call the oviducts or you call the fallopian tube. This is also a paired structure, and after the next part is the uterus, and the last part is the vagina. Okay, Clear? So these are the different parts, and we will discuss in each and every part in detail. So first of all, I'm going to explain you about the ovaries. Okay, so write down the heading ovaries. Ovaries. Okay, so ovaries, as I told you, that these are the paired structure, and as you can observe here that these are the oval shaped structure. Oval shaped. Okay, imagine, can you see this, that it is the oval shaped structure? Look at the diagram. Okay, which are inside the abdominal cavity of a woman. Okay, near the kidney. These are where these are located, near the kidney. And what I told you about the case of testes, that testes are located outside the abdominal cavity. Okay, keep this in your mind, that ovaries are located inside the abdominal cavity. Okay, and a woman has 2 ovaries. So basically it is a paired structure. It is a paired structure. Clear? Okay, so ovaries are the primary reproductive organs in a male, and let me recall you that testes were the primary reproductive organs in a male. Okay, now what are the function of ovaries? First function is to, first function of ovaries to make mature female sex cells. Okay, make mature female sex cells. Got it? So this is the first function. Okay, or you can say that female gamete, because as I told you, sex cells are also known as the gamete. Got it? And what are the second function? Their second function is known as to make the female sex hormones. Okay, female sex hormone. Okay, and these hormones are known as the estrogen and progesterone. Okay, estrogen and progesterone. So keep this in your mind, that female sex hormone is the estrogen, but they also produce progesterone. Okay, clear? So means to say progesterone is secreted by the ovaries. Okay, and female gametes are here known as the ova or egg. Male gamete is known as, yes, tell me. Very good. Male gamete is known as the sperm, while female gamete is known as the ova. So these are the 2 main function. These are the 2 main function of the ovaries. Now, do you know that each ovary is composed of several thousand follicles? Yes, it is composed of, ovaries composed of several thousand follicles. Okay, I mean to say, just these are just a kind of unripe eggs or unripe ova, you can say. Okay, so these follicles are basically unripe eggs or unripe ova. Okay, actually when a female child born, their ovary contain these eggs. Okay, we have female child in the body of female newborn child, their ovary contain these unripe egg. These are the unripe egg, or you can say unmature egg. But when these eggs become ripe, when these eggs become mature, these eggs become mature at the time of puberty. Okay, clear? So at the time of puberty, these unmature or unripe egg get mature or ripe. Got it? Why they mature at that stage? These unripe egg, I mean to say, these follicles जो होते हैं, these follicles, I mean to say, these are the follicles. These follicles get mature and become a new ova. Okay, clear? For their fertilization, because that time there was some hormones released. The ovary releases these hormones. The female sex hormones are released only at the time of puberty. Keep this in your mind, beta. Very important point. Okay, what ovary release? Ovary release a female sex hormone, which is the estrogen. Okay, as well as there are some other many hormones are responsible for the ripening of this egg at the time of puberty. Okay, clear? Now, let me draw a diagram. Here it is the, yes, here it is the uterus. Okay, here it is the uterus, and here is the cervix, and here is the vagina present. Okay, and this is the fallopian tube. Okay, here is the fallopian tube, and here is ovary is present. Okay, here is ovary present, which is a oval shaped structure. Got it? Now, just above the ovary, what you observe, there's a two tube-like structure is present. Now these tube-like structure is known as this is the tube-like structure. Okay, this is somewhat like that. Okay, this tube-like structure is known as the fallopian tube. Fallopian tubes. Okay, or you also call the oviduct. This is also known as oviducts. Okay, clear? The oviducts are not directly connected to the ovaries but have funnel shaped opening. Let me draw this diagram. Here it is. Okay, they have a funnel shaped opening like this. Okay, this is the opening of the fallopian tube. Okay, so ovaries are okay, funnel shaped openings are present which almost cover the ovary. Okay, that's why I'm saying that just above the ovary there are tube-like structure present. Okay, now the ova, I mean to say the mature egg released by an ovary and goes to the fallopian tube. Okay, here I'm going to draw this. Okay, now this ovary, if this is the ova, now this ova is released by the ovary and it goes into the fallopian tube. Here is the ovary. Okay, they releases the ova. This is the ova, or you call the egg. Got it? I'm going to repeat it again. The ova or the egg cell released by an ovary, it goes into the oviduct through its funnel shaped opening. Actually, this funnel shaped openings have they have a finger like projection. They have here a finger like projection is present. Okay, so through which they catch the ova which is released by the ovary. Okay, now the next step is the fertilization of egg. And after that, the fertilization of egg, or you can say the fertilization of ova by a sperm takes place in the oviduct. So what are the main function of fallopian tube? That it is site of fertilization because the male and female gamete and the formation of the zygote early embryo occur here. Okay, keep this in your mind that ova remain here till the sperms come. Ova stay here just for only one day. Okay, if during that duration sperms is ejaculated here in the vagina and sperms move forward toward the egg, then fertilization will occur, then pregnancy will occur, beta. Okay, so keep this in your mind that egg is present here only for 24 hours. Okay, and if during that case for sperm will come, then fertilization will occur. Okay, clear? So it means to say that fertilization of egg by a sperm takes place where? It takes place in the oviduct. So fallopian tube is the site for fertilization. In very simple language, fertilization. This is the place for fertilization. Okay, so write down somewhere. Okay, now next step is the uterus. Okay, now the two oviducts connect to a bag-like organ. Look at the diagram. Look at this diagram. Yes, what I want to show. These are the two oviducts. These are two oviducts. Look at this. Now these two oviducts connect to a bag-like organ. This is a bag-like organ. Here it is a bag-like organ, and this organ is known as the uterus. Okay, or you also call the womb. Okay, at their other ends. Now the growth and development of a fertilized ovum or fertilized egg into a baby takes place in the uterus. Okay, so let me explain you one more time all the process. That this is the ovary. Okay, and inside the ovary ova is present. Okay, inside the ovary ova is present. Now when this ova get mature, then this ova comes toward the fallopian tube here. Okay, and it is stay in the fallopian tube for 24 hours. Okay, and during this time if sperms come here, okay, if sperm is ejaculated in the or released in the vagina by the male penis, okay, then the sperms move forward and they come toward the ova, and when the sperm come toward the ova, then they fuse together and form a new single cell structure which is known as zygote. This is known as zygote. Okay, and this process is known as fertilization. So after the zygote formation, zygote start moving. This single cell structure na, they start moving. They start moving here, moving, and they goes into the uterus. Now the inside the uterus, their development started. Okay, inside the uterus their development is started. I mean to say, just say that this fertilized ova, it develop into a baby inside the uterus. Okay, and this uterus, let me explain you the next step also. First of all, let me explain you these lines, what is written here. The two fallopian tubes unite to form a elastic bag-like structure as the uterus, that is given. Now the function of uterus, the embryo formed in the fallopian tubes comes down and get attached to the endometrium and develops the next step. I will explain you later, just wait a minute. Okay, first of all, let me explain you the vagina. Okay, yes, so what I am saying that, yes, the uterus is connected through narrow opening called cervix. Here there is a narrow opening. Okay, this opening is known as the cervix. It is the cervix. Okay, to another tube. This is the narrow opening. The uterus is connected to the vagina via narrow opening, which is known as the cervix. So this structure is known as the vagina. Okay, clear? The uterus opens into the vagina through the cervix. Got it? Now the vagina is the place that receives the penis for putting sperms into the woman's body. Okay, so write down this line, very important for your exam. Got it? So vagina, it receives the sperm. Okay, receive the sperms, receive the penis, actually write down the receive the penis. Okay, for putting, why they receive the penis? For putting sperm into the woman's body. Because if there is no sperm, then no fertilization will occur, then no formation of development of baby occur. Okay, so what you observe here, that vagina is a tubular structure. Okay, another name of vagina is the birth canal. Okay, the another name is the birth canal. Okay, so why we call it birth canal? Because when the development of baby occur here, and after there, when the development of baby occur here, when baby completely develop, then the baby comes out. This baby comes out via vagina. Okay, that's why vagina is known as the birth canal. I hope you got it. Okay, because why known as the birth canal? Because it is through this passage that the baby is born after the completion of development inside the uterus of the mother. Okay, so please note that in woman body, in female, the opening for passing out urine called the urethra and the vaginal openings are separate. Okay, so write down this line. So write down, this point is very important, that in human female, the opening for passing out urine, okay, and the vaginal opening, both are separate here. Okay, both are separate here. I hope you got it, that urine is passing through a urethra, okay, while there is another opening which is known as the vagina. Both these openings are separate. Okay, so it is obvious from the above discussion that the female reproductive system in human is more complex than that of the male reproductive system. Why there is a complexity in the structure and function of the female reproductive system? Just for the union of, because here there is a union of a sperm and the ova inside the female body occur, and after that there is a development of baby in the mother's body, mother's uterus occur. That's why there is a little bit complexity in the female reproductive system. Okay, so let us discuss about the next step. After this, what happened after when the ova reaches toward the fallopian tube, when the sperm reaches toward the fallopian tube, what will be the next step?
Next step is the fertilization. Yes, in human beings, internal fertilization occur. Internal fertilization occur. Internal fertilization takes place because the sperms made in the testes, as you all know, as I told you, na, sperms are made in a testis. Just a minute. Write down that the testis form this sperm. Okay, and the testis, this is introduced into the vagina of the female through the penis, where it is introduced into the vagina. Okay, via penis. I hope you got it, that testes form these sperms which is introduced into the vagina via penis. Okay, now when it will all occur during a time of copulation, during a time of mating. Okay, during a time of mating, or in simple language you call it the sexual contact, or during a time of copulation. All these things happens. Okay, so in this way millions of sperms are released into the vagina. Millions of sperm, not 1 and 2. Actually there are millions of sperms are formed. Okay, you are unable to see them with the naked eye because they are very small structure, very small structure, na? That's why. But there are millions of sperms. Millions of sperms are released into the vagina at one time. Okay, and do you know that the sperms are highly active? These are highly active. Okay, and mobile and are a moving structure. Okay, so the sperms move up through the cervix into the uterus. As I told you, let me draw a diagram. Just give me a second. Okay, so here is the uterus. Okay, here is the uterus. Here is the fallopian tube. Okay, I'm not doing the ovary that time. Okay, and this is the cervix, and here the vagina. Okay, so when the sperms are putting here with the help of the penis, take it directly. Okay, with the help of penis, then they start. Then what happened? As I told you, the sperms are highly active and moving. The sperms move up through the cervix. Okay, they start to move up through the cervix into the uterus, and from uterus, the sperms passes into the oviduct. Not only in this oviduct, it may be passing through the another oviduct also. Okay, depend on the sperms motility. Okay, and here what is present here? Here eggs are present. Okay, so one of the oviduct contain one ova released by the ovary. Okay, so here it is present. Okay, only one ovary is released by the ovary. Only one ova is released by the ovary during the time of ovulation. So only one sperm fuses with the ovum. Although there are millions of sperms are present, millions of sperms are putting by the penis into the vagina, but only one will fuse with, only one will fuse with this ova. Okay, in the oviduct to form a zygote. Then they form a new structure which is known as the zygote. Okay, and all this process is known as the fertilization. So beta, what do you mean by the fertilization? Fertilization is the fertilization of ovum. Write down the definition, that the fertilization of ovum takes place in the oviduct. Where it occur? It occur in the oviduct, that is in the fallopian tube. Okay, and what do you mean by the fertilization? I told you in the starting of the lecture, fusion of male and female gamete is known as the fertilization. Okay, now when the ovum is fertilized in the oviduct, then a zygote is formed. Okay, so here is the sperm and here is the egg. Okay, this is the egg. Got it? This is the egg and this is the sperm. Okay, when both of these fuse together, then form a new structure which is known as the zygote, a new single cell structure which is known as the zygote, and this zygote is formed here. Okay, now further what happened? The zygote divides rapidly by mitosis as it is moved down slowly in the oviduct. It start moving down slowly in the oviduct and form a hollow ball of hundreds of cells. Okay, they form a hollow ball like a structure, hollow, somewhat like that structure. 100 of cells are present here. Okay, now this hollow ball of cells, as you can see here, this is known as the embryo. Okay, so what happens? I will explain you all these steps. First of all, sperms and egg fuse together. Okay, then a next structure is formed which is known as the zygote, and after that zygote start moving toward the uterus, slowly start moving, okay, and there is a rapidly mitosis division occur. Got it? And due to this division, there is a new structure is formed which is known as the embryo. Okay, it sinks into the soft and thick lining of the uterus and get embedded in it. Okay, so the embedding of embryo in the thick lining of uterus is known as the implantation. In simple word, I just want to say that implantation is the invagination of embryo into the wall of uterus, okay, is known as the implantation. Got it? So look at the diagram here, the steps are given. Okay, look at this. Yes, I hope you can easily observe this diagram. Yes, so these are the different process, these are the different steps. Okay, so this is what happened here now. Here is the ovary, this is the ovary, and when the female reaches toward the puberty stage, that time some hormones are released, and due to this hormone ova are formed. Okay, ova. So and after that release of ova occur. And what are the releasing of ova? Releasing of ova from ovary is known as the ovulation. Got it? Now this ova comes here and stay here. Ova stay here for some time. Okay, stay here for 24 hours and waiting the sperms. Okay, now the vagina, the penis ejaculated, penis put their sperms, okay, here, and then the sperms coming toward the fallopian, coming toward the sperms, coming toward the unfertilized ova, and then the ova get fertilized. Okay, and after the zygote is formed, a new structure which is known as the zygote. Okay, now this structure is formed here, zygote is formed. Okay, and after many mitotic division, it moved toward the, look at this diagram, it is known as the embryo. Okay, now here implantation occur. What happened? What you observed here, that it invaginated in the wall of uterus. Okay, they start invaginated, so that they attach themselves to the wall of uterus, and after that time there is no movement occur in the structure of embryo, no movement. Okay, and after that the development of baby started. Okay, development of baby, growth of baby started in the uterus till the 9 month of pregnancy. Okay, now after implantation, a disc like structure, look at this structure beta, look at this is a disc like structure, na? So a disc like structure, this is a disc like, a special tissue structure developed between the uterus wall and the embryo, and this is known as the placenta. Okay, where it is developed? It is developed between the uterus wall called the uterine wall, and the embryo. Okay, this part developed, which is known as the placenta. Okay, so the fetus is connected to the mother placenta. Here you can see this. Now how this placenta is connected to the developing baby? Look at the baby, how cute he or she is. Okay, so this placenta is connected to the developing baby with the help of a cord. Okay, and this cord is known as the umbilical cord. Got it? This cord is known as the umbilical cord. Okay, so what are the role of umbilical cord? Let me write it here. That the fetus is connected. Their role is to connect fetus to placenta in mother's body. Okay, now it is through the placenta that all the requirement of the developing fetus like nutrition, respiration and excretion occurs, excretion etc. are met from the mother's body. In other words, in simple language, let me explain you the function. What I just want to say, the function of placenta. Function of placenta is that they help in the exchange of nutrients. Okay, as well as the oxygen and waste product. Got it? Between the embryo, okay, and the mother takes place through placenta. Okay, so I hope you got this point. So what is placenta? Okay.
Okay, so this is how the developing baby obtain their nutrition from mother's body via placenta. Okay, now let's see the topic gestation. What do you mean by the gestation period or gestation period? Actually, this is the time period from fertilization up to the birth of baby. Okay, there is some duration. Okay, and this is the average duration period in humans is about 9 months. Okay, 9 months, and in these duration, okay, during the gestation period, the fetus grow to become a baby. During this period, what happened? The fetus grow to become a baby. Okay, but the question is, what do you mean by fetus? Do you know? When the embryo start resembling a human is formed, and this is known as the fetus. Let me introduce. Dekho, what happened now? When there is a male and female gamete fused together, then a single cell structure, that is zygote, is formed. Okay, and then after several rapid mitotic division, this zygote changes into embryo. Okay, and after some time, this embryo changes into the fetus. Okay, fetus is a stage of the developing baby when it resembles like just a human. Okay, so this is the fetus. Okay, and this fetus is formed at the time of 9 month of the gestation period. Okay, so the fetus grows to become a baby. Okay, now the fetus continues to develop inside the uterus for almost 9 months, as I told you. Okay, and after which the baby is delivered as a rhythmic contraction of uterine muscles. Okay, but the question is, how these muscle contract? Do you know? Actually, there is a hormone. Okay, there is a hormone which is known as the oxytocin hormone. Oxytocin hormone, this is releases from the mother's body, and this hormone act on the uterus. Okay, this hormone act as a uterus and cause the contraction of the uterus. Now look at the diagram. Let me show you here. Here's the diagram. Yes, this is the uterus. Imagine this is the uterus, and here is the cervical canal, here is the vagina. Okay, so this is the uterus. Okay, and here is the fallopian tube. Okay, I am drawing a very tiny diagram. Okay, now here the baby is present. Okay, the developing baby. Imagine this is a fully developed baby. Okay, so when after the development of the baby, when the baby is fully developed now, then oxytocin is released from the mother's body, and this oxytocin act on the uterus here. So here, okay, this will cause the contraction of the uterus. So when the uterus is contract now, then the baby start moving forward. As contraction, as release of oxytocin, the more forward movement of the baby occur. Okay, and this is how the delivery of baby occur. Okay, so in short, just I want to say that the birth begins when the strong muscles in the wall of uterus. Got it? There are some muscles present now in the wall of uterus. So when there is a strong muscles in the wall of uterus, start to contract rhythmically. Okay, so the rhythmic contraction of uterus muscle gradually pushes the baby out of the mother's baby, out of the mother's body through the vagina. This is how a baby is born. I hope you got it. Let's see next topic of this chapter, menstruation. Okay, so what do you mean by the menstruation? Let me explain you. Actually, the sexual cycle in female or woman. Okay, the sexual cycle in female, this is known as the menstruation. Okay, so menstruation or menstrual cycle, you can also say menstrual cycle, it is started at the age of puberty. Okay, and the starting of menstrual cycle is known as the menarche. Okay, menarche is known as the starting of menstrual cycle, and when this menstrual cycle or menstruation started, when the girl is in the puberty age. Okay, at the age of puberty. Okay, it is started. Actually, when the girl reaches the puberty at the age of about 10 to 12 years, okay, at the age of about 10 to 12 years now, then in their body a sex hormone is released. Okay, what?
in their body, there is a sex hormone release. As I told you na in the last lectures, that sex hormone which is present in body of female, which is released in body of female, this is released by the ovary. Do you remember about this point? Okay, so who release these sex hormone? These sex hormones, that is estrogen, okay, progesterone, these are released by the ovary. So keep this in your mind. This can be framed as an important question, that ovary release sex hormones. Okay, this hormone reaches into her blood. Where they goes? They reaches to her blood, and they cause some of the ova in our ovaries to become mature. Okay, so before explaining this line, let me tell you one word. Okay, when a female child born, listen me very carefully beta, child born, okay, in their ovary there are thousands of immature egg are present. Got it? And this immature egg get mature, they become mature at the age of puberty. Okay, got it? So female child born with immature egg in their ovary, this immature egg become mature at the time of puberty. Okay, it means to say after 10 years their eggs start maturing. And why they start maturing? Due to the release of some hormones from the ovaries. Okay, got it? So what these do? These sex hormone goes and reaches to the blood and cause some of the ova it mean to say immature egg in our ovaries to become mature. Okay, so usually one mature ovum is released from the ovary. There are lots of ovum start maturing, not only one. Okay, there are lots of ova you call the egg also. So there are lots of ova that start maturing. Okay, but there is only one mature ova. There is one mature ovum or egg is released from the ovary into the oviduct once every 28 days. Actually, this menstruation is of the 28 days cycle. Okay, and one mature ova released from ovary. Okay, at 14th day of cycle. Okay, at 14th day of cycle, only one mature egg is released from the ovary. Okay, let me draw you here diagram for you. Okay, this is the uterus. As you all know, I am drawing this refer diagram. This is the cervical canal, and here is the vagina present. Okay, got it? And this is the uterus. Okay, so here is the fallopian tube. Okay, and here is the ovary. Clear? So what happened now? If any ova is formed, okay, so what happened here? At the time of puberty, lots of ova start maturing. Okay, lots of ova, but from this only one ova is released and comes here in the fallopian tube. Only one ova. Okay, and this time the release of ova from ovary is known as ovulation. Got it? Clear? So this is known as the ovulation. Okay, so before ovulation, the inner lining of the uterus become thick. Just before ovulation, thus inner lining of the uterus become thick. Okay, thick and spongy and full of the tiny blood vessels, and prepare itself to receive the fertilized ova or the egg. If get fertilized by the sperm. If this ova get fertilized by the sperm, then where it go? After fertilization, this ova will go into the uterus. Okay, just to receive the fertilized ova, uterus make their wall spongy and fill their wall with the blood. Okay, so if the ova does not get fertilized due to non-availability of sperm in the female body, then the thick and soft inner lining of uterus is no longer needed, and hence it breaks. Okay, so the thick and soft inner lining of uterus along with the blood vessels and dead ova. Okay, because ova wait only for one day.
ठीक है, for the sperm. But if within these 1 day sperm will not come na, then the ova will dead, okay, and it comes out from the vagina, okay. Not only this dead ova, but also the blood vessels, okay. So what happened is, so the thick and soft inner lining of uterus along with the blood vessels and the dead ovum comes out of the vagina in the form of bleeding, okay, and this is known as the menstruation. Okay, so menstruation usually occurs 14th day after ovulation, and usually it lasts for 3 to 5 days. Got it? Clear? So this cycle goes and goes on after each and every 28 days, okay. So here everything is given in the slide. So what I told you, that in case of ovum get fertilized, then the endometrium become thick and spongy just for nourishing the embryo, okay. But what will happen if the ovum not get fertilized, okay? In that case, the endometrium starts sludging off, and there is loss of blood and unfertilized egg through the vagina occur, okay. So if the loss of blood along with the unfertilized ovum and the rupture cells and the tissues of the endometrium through the vagina of the female. Got it? So it is 28 days cycle which occurs in every reproductive active female from puberty. The flow of blood is just for 2 to 8 days. Now, a lady with a developing embryo in her womb is known as the pregnant lady, okay. Got it? Now, the beginning of menstruation is known as the menarche, but at some age of their life, the menstrual cycle stops, okay. So the stoppage of menstruation when the woman is 45 to 55 year of the age, this is known as menopause. Meno means to say menstruation, pause means to say stop. Now next topic is birth control, okay. So as you all know that population of our country is increasing rapidly day by day. Though our country has sufficient food resources, but still many people do not get sufficient food for their large families, having many children due to poverty, okay. So for this, family planning is very necessary. Actually, so what is family planning? Actually, it enables a couple to decide on the number of children it wants to have and when to have them. Okay, so family planning can be done by practicing many birth control measures. Okay, so let me explain you different birth control methods. Okay, first of all, what is birth control? Birth control can be done by preventing pregnancy. Okay, how it can be done? By preventing pregnancy. Got it? In females, okay, or in women. Clear? So and pregnancy, it can be done, all the birth control, there are different methods, okay, there are different method of birth control, and we divided it into 3 categories. Okay, so what are the first method of birth control? Let me tell you. Okay, so the first method is known as the barrier method, and the second is known as the chemical method, okay, while the third is surgical method of birth control. Okay, so let me explain you each and every method in detail. So the first method is known as the barrier method. Okay, it is the barrier method. Okay, so let me explain you the barrier method. In the barrier method of preventing pregnancy, the physical devices such as the condoms and diaphragm it should be like this, okay, or a cap are used. Got it? So what are the role of condoms here? Condoms are mainly used by the males. Okay, this can be framed as a question by putting them as a covering on the penis. Okay, because as you all know that penis in males are responsible for the release of semen into the vagina of female. Okay, so if it will cover, if the penis will cover with the condoms, then they cannot release the semen directly into the vagina. Okay, clear? As Similarly the condoms, diaphragms are used by the females. Okay, these are used by the female. Diaphragm is just like a cap structure. Okay, so by putting, and where they put it, where they put it in the vagina. Okay, there you put it in the vagina. So right down here also they are used by the, they cover the penis through this. Okay, to cover the cervix, the female put the diaphragm it in the vagina to cover the cervix. Okay, so condom as well as diaphragm, they prevent the sperm from meeting the ova. So what are the role of this barrier method? The role of the barrier method is to thus prevent the, their role is to prevent the sperms from meeting, okay, the ova or egg, okay, by acting as a barrier between them. Got it? So an important benefit in the use of condom is that it protect a person not from, it not only act as a birth control method, na, but it also protect the function person from different type of sexually transmitted disease. Got it? Okay, also prevent from STDs, that is sexually transmitted disease. We will discuss about the different type of STDs later also in today's lecture. Don't worry about it. Okay, and keep this in your mind that there is no other method of contraception provide protection against STD. This is the only and only method. Barrier method is the only method that provide protection. Okay, provide protection against, only method provide protection against STDs. Okay, there are different type of STDs, gonorrhea, syphilis, as well as the AIDS also. Okay, so let us talk about the another method of birth control. So the another method is the chemical method. Okay, this is the chemical method. Okay, this is the another method of birth control. Got it? Okay, so let me explain you what happened here. In the chemical methods of preventing pregnancy, the female use two type of pills. Actually, keep in your mind that this chemical method is used by the female, not by the male, just like the barrier method. Okay, barrier method, it can be used by the male as well as the female, but chemical method is just for the female. Okay, so just to prevent the pregnancy, the female use two types of pills. Okay, two types of pills. Okay, so what are the name of these pills? These pills are known as oral pills, as well as the vaginal pills. Okay, vaginal pills. I hope you got it. Okay, so this oral pin and vaginal pills. Oral pills is known as the oral contraceptive pills. Okay, this is known as oral contraceptive pills. Got it? In short, I mean to say OC, that is oral contraceptive pills. Okay, and these oral contraceptive pills, they contain some special hormones, okay, that they contain hormones which stop the ovaries from releasing ovum. Stop ovaries from releasing ovum. Okay, ovum. So if there is no ovum present inside the fallopian tube, then how will how sperm will fertilize it? Okay, clear? Now, what are the role of the vaginal pills? Vaginal pills, it contain the chemicals which are known as the spermicides. Spermicides, okay, and as the name indicates, spermicide, cide means to say kill. Whom? Sperms. Okay, so that kill the sperms. Got it? So this is about the vaginal pills and oral pill. Let me explain you. Chemical methods are mainly used by the females. Okay, chemical methods, it is the female use two type of pills. First one is the oral pills. Oral pills are also known as the oral contraceptive pills, that contain hormone. Okay, this hormone stop the ovaries from the release of ova. Okay, from release of ova. write down here, from the release of ova, and but they show also very a lot of side effect. Okay, clear? So it is important that the women on pills have regular checkups with their doctor. Okay, now what about the vaginal pills? Vaginal pills releases or contain the chemicals which is known as the spermicides, which kill the sperms. Now the third method, yes, here I am going to write on the third method of the birth control is the surgical methods. Okay, surgical methods. So what happens here? Here actually surgical method of birth control are available for the males as well as for the female, both. Okay, so what happens here? Let me to show you. Okay, in male, first of all, in case of males, as you all know that here is the, what is present here is the testes. Okay, testes, it is surrounded by the epidermis, then vas deferens. Okay, vas deferens unite with the, here is the urinary bladder, here the urethra. Okay, so this vas deferens unite with the urethra, as you all know about this. Okay, so what happen in this process now? Testes form the sperms. Okay, then the testes goes into the epidermis, and via epidermis it goes into the vas deferens, as you all know. Okay, this is the vas deferens. Okay, then the sperm goes into the urethra. Okay, this is the process of release of semen from the body of female. Okay, from the body of male. But what happens in this process? Actually, in males, a small portion of the vas deferens is removed. Here a small portion of vas deferens is removed by the surgical operation, and both the cut ends are ligate, or you can say tight property. Let me show you here. Yes, what happened now here? Both of these portion cut and tie here. Look at this. Okay, so that what it will do? It will prevent the sperm from coming out. Okay, the surgical procedure carried out in males, and this is known as the vasectomy. This procedure is known as the vasectomy. Okay, clear? So look at the diagram, that if there is a no path present, so how the sperms will go from the vas deferens to the urethra, how it will release out into the vagina. Okay, it is unable. Now let's talk about the same thing in case of female. Okay, how it will happen in case of female. Okay, so in female, let me draw the diagram first of all. Let me draw the diagram. Okay, let me draw the diagram of uterus is present here. Okay, here is the cervix, and then further the vagina. Okay, and here is the fallopian tube, here is the fallopian tube, and here is the ovary. So as you all know that ovary releases ova, which present here. Okay, in the oviduct, that is in the fallopian tube, and when semen is released by the female, by the penis of male here, then the sperm move forward into the uterus, and then it goes into the fallopian tube, and after this fertilization will occur. Clear? Got it? So this is the process of fertilization. But if you want to prevent the fertilization, then what doctor will do? Let me tell you. What doctor will do, in this small portion of oviduct is cut. Okay, in this portion, in this method, a small portion of oviduct is cut. Let me remove this part and then I will show it to you. Okay, yes, here. Okay, so a small portion of oviduct is removed by surgical operation, and the cut ends are ligated, or you can say tied. Okay, this prevent the ova from entering into the oviducts. Okay, so this surgical procedure is known as the tubectomy. Okay, this procedure is known as the tubectomy. Got it? So this is how you can control the birth how you can control the pregnancy in women's. Okay. So after sexual intercourse, now a large number of diseases occur. Okay. So these diseases are known as the sexually transmitted disease. Sexually means to say the disease which is transmitted after the sexual intercourse. Okay. So these diseases are caused due to the bacteria, due to the virus also. So learn this better. These are very important things. Okay. So the syphilis and the gonorrhea, this is caused by the bacteria. While if I am talking about the HIV/AIDS, okay, HIV and AIDS, wars also, these are occur due to the viruses, okay. And if you want to avoid these transmission of these diseases na, so it can be avoided by using the different birth control methods. The most commonly and most preferable as well as the most reliable method is the condoms and the diaphragm, okay. So that's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.